Do you spend more time scrolling looking for something to watch than actually watching the movie you settle on, or falling asleep while watching it? I get it. Amazon Prime Video has a monster library with so many options, and if that sounds like you, then welcome. I'm Greg, and here at the Binge List, we make recommendations for TV shows and for movies you can access from the comfort of your own home. And Prime Video has a huge library with some phenomenal options. So let's check out 11 of the best, including some of my personal favorites. And I rank these titles based on my own experiences and opinions on them. So stop mindlessly scrolling, stop wasting your time, and let's jump in and check it out. First on the list is an addition to a legendary franchise with Terminator Genesis. And this may all sound somewhat familiar to you, but who would have guessed it? John Connor is again the leader of the human resistance against the machines of Skynet. He sends Kyle Reese back into 1984 to protect his mother Sarah from a Terminator assassination attempt. However, upon arrival, Kyle finds a different timeline where Sarah Connor is already this skilled, badass fighter being protected by a cyborg guardian that may look somewhat familiar. I want to get this out of the way right from the beginning. If this was a standalone film with no attachments to such an iconic franchise, I would say this is a pretty dang good movie. Not perfect, but it's a well-made action movie. And I love time manipulation films, and this one introduces a whole new timeline, so they were able to provide a unique take on the story and the characters, so it didn't seem super familiar. But it's hard to escape the legacy, and a lot of people put extremely high expectations on anything Terminator related, and you see that in the reviews of this film. But one of the things I really did enjoy about the film is the action itself. It was entertaining, it had really awesome action sequences that are brought to life with well done special effects that depict battle scenes, all kinds of mechanized carnage, and the futuristic technology as well. Obviously, as a fan of the franchise, it had some nostalgia factors with references and callbacks to the earlier movies, including Arnold Schwarzenegger returning in the Terminator role, along with a solid cast of great actors like Emilia Clarke, Jai Courtney, Jason Clarke, and Lee Byung-hun. So if you're like me and you can look past the Terminator name and a few small plot inconsistencies, this movie has enough positives for you to check out and definitely enjoy.
If we die tonight, mankind dies with us.
My second pick is actually really unique for me because normally I can't comment on the book versus the movies because I'm not that avid of a reader. But this one, I actually read the book back in school, thanks Mrs. Best, but this one is The Giver, where we meet Jonas, who lives in a seemingly utopian society. Raised in this nurturing environment, he actually gets selected for a prestigious position as the receiver of memory. Guided by the Giver, Jonas begins to receive memories from the past, a past filled with joy, sorrow, love, and the complexities of the human experience. If you are familiar with this story, you know it is definitely a thought-provoking film. It explores things like pain, love, freedom, and what could be lost to create this seemingly idealistic society. One of the things that really stands out in this one is the performances of the two leads in this film. Brenton Thwaites is awesome as Jonas, and Jeff Bridges, well, I'm not sure that I can think of a performance where he wasn't awesome. Plus a phenomenal supporting cast in this film. You have Meryl Streep, Katie Holmes, Alexander Skarsgård, Cameron Monaghan, and even a surprise cameo from Taylor Swift. After 2 decades to bring this film to the screen, I think it is awesome and it still resonates the themes of the novel. Well worth a watch to find out for yourself.
The way things look and the way things are very different.
The third film on this list turns the action all the way up to Jason Statham levels in the movie Safe, where Luke Wright, a former cage fighter haunted by his past, reluctantly agrees to protect a young girl with a photographic memory who holds a priceless numerical code. Pursued by the Triads, the Russian mob, and even corrupt cops, Luke must utilize his skills and resourcefulness to keep her safe and uncover the truth behind the code. I think you will find a very typical Jason Statham performance in this film, and I say that in a very positive way. Statham is usually awesome in these roles, and this one fits him very well. He brings his action hero charisma and his top-notch fight choreography skills to the tough but protective Luke in this film. You're not going to go into this movie for an expertly crafted original story. There's plenty of the usual action movie tropes and cliches. You're going into it for the fast-paced action though. The film delivers a consistent stream of action sequences and thrilling moments that keep you engaged throughout the entirety of it. Again, action, and then some more action kind of defines this movie, but the one cool part of the plot that I did really like is the dynamic relationship between the extremely hardcore Luke and this innocent girl May, which was surprisingly heartwarming. If you're into action, this is a great option for you to watch Jason Statham beat the you-know-what out of bad guys with a hint of heart. Definitely worth an hour and a half runtime.
Никогда не знаю, что говорит в такие моменты.
Какие моменты?
Перед тем, как я кого-то.
My fourth pick is a movie that I've watched so many times, and this is the Seann William Scott and Paul Rudd led film Role Models. And I'm always hesitant with comedies because not everyone finds the same things funny that I do, and people are not afraid to share that in the comments. But here we go. This one starts with two immature energy drink salesmen who are forced to participate in a Big Brother program as community service. Assigned to two very different young kids, the awkward and fantasy role-playing obsessed Augie and the foul-mouthed Ronnie. And they find their lifestyles challenged as they navigate the complexities of mentorship and just personal growth in general. The comedic duo of Seann William Scott and Paul Rudd together are amazing. Can't say enough nice things about this duo. But with the addition of the kids they're mentoring, Christopher Mintz-Plasse and Bobby Thompson, I found myself laughing uncontrollably so many times during this film. They have some great on-screen chemistry, and the banter is truly hilarious. And knowing the amount of improvisation in this film makes this comedy so impressive. I do want to say, yes, there is certainly some crude or ridiculous humor and plenty of profanity in the film, but I felt like it was well balanced with some of the actual genuine moments that you see along the way, like heartwarming messages about responsibility, friendship, and just self-improvement. This film is packed full of humor, great performances, and some heartwarming messages, absolutely worth checking out.
Why do we still do this job?
This is the best job in the world, man. We get to wear awesome outfits, and it's totally easy to do hungover.
Number 5 on our list is the action thriller Safe House, where Matt, a young, inexperienced CIA agent, is stationed in Cape Town, South Africa. He is tasked with guarding Tobin Frost, this legendary but potentially corrupt ex-CIA operative. When a group of mercenaries attack the safe house, Matt is forced to go on the run with Frost, a man he does not trust. As they fight for survival and uncover hidden truths, the lines between good and bad become blurred, forcing Matt to question pretty much everything. This film has two amazing actors leading the way, with Denzel Washington and Ryan Reynolds in roles that fit them very well. This is another one on the list with some high-octane action sequences. There's chase scenes, gunfights, hand-to-hand combat with plenty of intensity and well-crafted choreography and effects. And these two went under rigorous training and fight choreography rehearsals to prepare for the film's action sequences, which always adds this cool layer of authenticity to these types of films. But it's not just action in this one, it has a fairly suspenseful plot that keeps you engaged with its twists and its turns, building suspense about who to trust and the character's overall motivations. Safe House has Ryan Reynolds and Denzel Washington, an incredible supporting cast, and is packed full of action, well worth checking out.
He was one of the most brilliant CIA operatives we ever had, until he went rogue. He's responsible for the deaths of multiple agents.
Number 6 on this list is a movie that I was obsessed with growing up, and that is the movie Never Back Down. We follow the frustrated and troubled teen Jake Tyler, who moves to this new town with his mother and his brother. There, he encounters the ruthless world of underground mixed martial arts, led by the arrogant Ryan McCarthy. After a humiliating brawl with Ryan at a party, Jake seeks out guidance from a retired MMA fighter, John Roca, to learn self-discipline and train in the ways of mixed martial arts. This film is a classic underdog narrative, and yes, that means it can be a bit predictable and cliched at times as we see Jake transform from this troubled teen to this skilled fighter. Regardless, it is still a great film. This came out in the late 2000s when MMA and the UFC were extremely popular, so I followed the sport a bit at the time. Obviously, though, I am not an expert, but to me, the fight choreography and the action sequences were filmed amazingly, which made them feel really intense and believable, and you're right there inside the action. In the core of this cast, with Sean Ferris, Jaimin Hansu, Cam Gigante, Evan Peters, and even Amber Heard before, well, everything that happened, do have really strong performances with solid chemistry throughout, and like Safe House, the lead actors in this film underwent months of rigorous training in various martial art disciplines to prepare for the fight scenes to ensure they looked very authentic. So an awesome underdog narrative with great fight scenes and a really cool cast, well worth checking out.
Get the hell out of here, man. I'm not fighting. You don't want to fight. Then what the hell are you doing here?
Next at number 7 is an iconic sports movie based on a true story that later becomes an incredible TV series, and that is the movie Friday Night Lights, where in the small town of Odessa, Texas, high school football reigns supreme. The story follows Coach Gary Gaines and a group of players of the Permian Panthers high school football team. This is a team burdened with sky-high expectations and past glory. As the Panthers fight for a state championship in this film, it explores the pressures faced by these players, the coaches, and just the entire town that revolves around the team's success. And where I'm from, high school football is just kind of there, but I do have friends from this part of the country, and this movie does not lie. High school football is life here. It is really cool to see this realistic depiction of it, along with the physical and the emotional demands of the sport and the pressures these young athletes face. They are truly like celebrities in these small towns. And Billy Bob Thornton was awesome in the film, with young actors like Derek Luke, Lucas Black, Jay Hernandez, Lee Jackson, and a ton of others that were fully committed to the authenticity and emotional depth of their characters. But to me, a true standout was actually Tim McGraw's performance. His relationship with his son, played by Garrett Hudlin, goes through this immense journey through good and bad and ugly, and it really hits you hard during some of the emotional moments. This film is 100% worth investing 2 hours of your time into. Friday Night Lights is loosely based on this true story that's earned Oscar nominations, landed a TV franchise, and has so much to love.
Gentlemen, the hopes and dreams of an entire town are riding on your shoulders. You may never matter more than you do right now. It's time.
This wasn't planned, but it actually worked out perfectly because the number 8 pick on our list today is actually the movie Super 8. And this film picks up in 1979 with a group of young friends in a small Ohio town who witness a horrific train crash while they're filming this homemade zombie movie on a Super 8 film. As strange events begin to plague their town, the friends suspect a connection to the accident and embark on a thrilling investigation. Led by the determined Joe, they uncover a mysterious government cover-up involving a powerful extraterrestrial creature facing danger and defying authorities. The kids must use their resourcefulness and courage to protect their town and confront the truth. This film is the legend J.J. Abrams' passion project, and the film is also heavily influenced by the works of Steven Spielberg, who actually served as a producer on the film itself. You have to appreciate the storytelling's blend of childhood wonder, science fiction elements, and a touch of Spielbergian nostalgia. It really gives you this Stephen King's It, E.T. and Goonies vibe all wrapped into one film. It doesn't just take inspiration from those films, it truly pays homage to those classic films by utilizing practical effects for the creatures and special effects, along with filming on 35mm film, just adding another layer to the nostalgic charm. And the young cast has grown to become some really solid actors in their own right, with Elle Fanning, AJ Michalka, and I did not realize it, but Gabriel Basso, the star from The Night Watch, is actually in this one as well. But they all do really well, making their performances believable, capturing the spirit of the childhood camaraderie and the adventure. If you're a fan of the 1980s Amblin era films, this is the perfect film to bring you back with tons of nostalgia, well worth checking out.
Action! Guys, watch out!
My number 9 pick may not be loved by some as much as I love it because it is an animated film, but this is not just another kids animated film, it is so much more than that. This is the film Sing 2, where you follow the koala bear Buster Moon and his ever optimistic crew from the first film who are no longer satisfied with their local success. They're determined to reach a bigger stage, so they embark on a daring mission to impress a ruthless entertainment mogul. They face numerous challenges, self-doubt, and the cutthroat world of show business, but Buster and his friends must pull off a spectacular show to prove their talent and achieve their dreams. First thing you'll notice is this movie looks amazing. It has visually stunning animation that is colorful and detailed, creating a dazzling and vibrant world. And it blends humor, music, and positive messages, making it a fun experience for viewers of all ages. This film is jam-packed with an incredible cast. You got Matthew McConaughey, Reese Witherspoon, Scarlett Johansson, Tori Kelly, Tanner Edgerton, Nick Kroll, Nick Offerman, Eric Andre, Letitia Wright, Bono, Halsey, Pharrell. The best part really is the film selection of this popular music reimagined and the energetic musical numbers from all these amazing performers. So if you're gonna go with an animated film just to watch by yourself or with your family, you can absolutely not go wrong with Sing 2. My 10th pick is my personal favorite Daniel Craig James Bond film, and that's the film Casino Royale, where Bond is fresh off a brutal mission to earn his 00 status and is now tasked with taking down Le Chiffre, a ruthless financier funding terrorism. To bankrupt his efforts, Bond must infiltrate a high-stakes poker game in Montenegro with his beautiful assigned treasury agent. As the stakes rise and danger mounts, Bond grapples with balancing his mission objectives with an increased emotional connection with his treasury agent. This film feels like a darker and more realistic take on the James Bond character, showcasing the emotional side and also the physical toll that he goes through on his missions. I also felt like it was cool to see this Bond character make mistakes, which earlier Bonds wouldn't have made because they were much more seasoned and experienced. Also, Daniel Craig's performance as Bond was widely praised, and for good reason. He shows off the character's physicality, his intensity, and emotional depth, along with his just heightened intelligence. And to top it off, the action sequences were thrilling. They are well choreographed and exciting, but never went too far, which offers this more grounded and brutal style that departs from the traditional lighthearted and gadget-filled approach. I know some of you already hate me for making this recommendation and just dislike this film for whatever reason, but I love it. It's different flavors for different people, of course. And Casino Royale is a gritty and intense reboot of the Bond franchise, introducing more vulnerability and emotionally complex versions of this iconic secret agent. Definitely worth checking out for yourself.
I will be keeping my eye on our government's money and off your perfectly formed house.
You noticed.
And last but never least, my 11th pick is Sicario, where we meet Kate, who is this idealistic FBI agent known for her by-the-book approach, who gets recruited for a task force aiming to dismantle the brutal cartel operating on the US-Mexico border. Partnered with the mysterious Alejandro and the stoic CIA officer Matt, Kate finds herself thrust into a violent and morally ambiguous world, way more than she might have been ready for at this time. And as the mission unfolds, Kate grapples with the ruthless tactics employed by her team and the blurred lines between law enforcement and vengeance. Director Denis Villeneuve aimed to create a film that felt grounded and realistic in this one, depicting the brutal realities of the drug war on the border. And he did just that. The film has an extremely gripping story with a tense atmosphere and suspenseful moments through the entire film that keep you engaged till the very end. A lot of this is brought to life with the powerful performances from Emily Blunt, Benicio del Toro, and Josh Brolin. Each of these actors portray super complex and morally conflicted characters. And if you're a fan of Villeneuve's work, you know that this is shot beautifully with visually stunning cinematography. It is more of a plain and empty beauty that draws you into these immersive portrayals of the border towns. I just rewatched this film recently and I absolutely recommend it for an amazing movie night on Amazon Prime Video.
Gotta be careful around these people.
He's a hitman.
He looks for anyone who will turn him loose.
And that's going to do it for our list today, everybody. You can check out some of our other Prime Video recommendations right here. And I do know that everybody says this, but do take a second to like and subscribe. It does really help us get our recommendations out to others looking for great TV shows and movies to stream. But that's going to do it. Have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.